What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness journey. And I kind of have a little bit of a kitchen sink to start with. I have a couple of questions from people in my Facebook group, a little bit of a health and, I guess a gains trains update on me, and also wanted to go into really, I kind of wanted to put a little bit of info out there on how to end the 2024 season and then how to enter into 2025 a little bit more prepared. Most of my listeners don't really need to have a reminder of the things that they should be focusing on in the holiday season, because we all have different things going on at different times of the year. And the holiday season should be like no other season. But I am going to put some things out there that maybe for those of you guys out there that just feel a little bit insecure, maybe you are somebody who has that fear of like holiday weight gain, or you tend to avoid dealing with your nutrition over the holidays, on how successful people navigate the holiday season, still enjoy their meals, they don't gain weight. Sometimes you can even lose weight through your holiday season, and just ensure that you guys feel really good so that you're set up for success going into 2025. If you do have the anticipation of setting yourself up for success for maybe better fat loss or better performance in the gym, or whatever it is that your goals might be. I want to give you guys the strategies, because the nutrition plan that I teach is something that can be followed year round. When you're traveling, when you're not traveling, when you're celebrating with your family, when you're, not celebrating with your family, you can meal prep. You don't have to meal prep. It's pretty awesome. So let's get down to it. And I'm going to start off by giving you guys a little bit of a health update from me. I've been getting a couple of questions. How are things going on your gains train? You've been a little bit inconsistent with your posting. And 100% I have been. And I'm going to be honest, because since I got sick, things have just not been right. I was sick probably, I guess back in September. I got COVID, and it like took the life out of me for almost an entire month. And I kind of, in the month of October, thought that a lot of what I was experiencing was just still kind of like coming back into it. And mind you, I don't get sick very often. Last year I was in the hospital. And that was really like the first time I was really sick in a long time. And I don't get like cold sick ever. So, and if I do, I tend to bounce back pretty quickly. And so things just weren't feeling great going into October. And I kind of was just like chalking it up to like, I'm still like not recovered all the way. And then about like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and by the way, all of this, still been keeping up with my nutrition. My training's going as good as it can be. I'm getting much stronger again, but my fitness has felt like it just took a huge tank, like just feeling really out of breath easily. And I just been like, Cheryl, just be patient. You're coming back from having COVID. And so that's been kind of going on now, obviously since that. But then earlier this month, I guess about 3 weeks ago, I just started to have really bad fatigue, and not really sure where it was coming from, and not feeling sick. I feel fine, but just really bad fatigue, like exercise intolerance is what I'm titling it. Where like, so I'm really good. If you know me as an athlete, I'm like the girl that'll have like negative splits. Like my last run will be better than my first run. That's just how I am. For whatever reason, like just not having it. And it kept going and kept going and kept going. And I was also getting like a lot of like weird bloating, and like, obviously y'all know my goals right now. So I'm like forcing myself to eat, but I'm literally, I feel like I'm walking around with a 9-month-old baby in my stomach. And it's super frustrating, because I have gotten comments, like such trolls, like on my Instagram or my social media, like, why do you look so puffy? I'm like, well, you try eating, 1,000 calories over your, maintenance calories every single day in food volume. Yeah, it is uncomfortable, but I just was chalking it up to like, just deal with it. But it was starting to get really bad. And so finally, last weekend, I went over to the urgent care, just because I'm like, I'm not going back to the hospital. I'm going to see what they have to say, because I couldn't get in with my primary care. And I just wanted to see like lab work wise where things were at. So labs came back not so good. And so I'm still waiting to kind of hear back from a couple of doctors to kind of see what the solution is going to be. But I'm extremely anemic right now, which is why I'm having a hard time with exercise. And the bloating suggested problem might be that it's crazy enough that all of this might be coming down to this entire year and a half of me dealing with this decline in my health might be something like ulcerative colitis. I'm not diagnosing myself, but everything that I've been looking at, it's the one thing that I haven't looked at. And I know a lot about this kinds of stuff, because as a nutrition coach, I work with a lot of clients with different medical backgrounds or medical problems. And I don't know why this one was like off the radar for me. It was kind of like, that couldn't be me, but I think it might be what it is. So that's a little health update on me. Kind of waiting to kind of hear from my doctors to kind of see what the next steps are, but I know it's going to be a lot of testing. Right now, just looking at getting some help for the fatigue. The fatigue is bad. I've never been anemic like this, but like I'm getting lightheaded just talking. I like feel like very spacey. It's bizarre. So hopefully I can get some treatment. Waiting to hear back from my doctor hopefully this week. Did have a doctor friends tell me to start taking some iron and some vitamin C. So I am on that. Just to kind of do whatever I can from home. But that's a little health update on me. Not let it steal my joy. I'm going to keep going. I am hosting Thanksgiving this week. And I'm going to do the best I can to keep going in my life because that's all we can do, right? And I know it's really easy. Little advice here is it can get, really overwhelming when you have worry. I've been worrying about this really for a couple of weeks now. And then since Saturday, it's been on my mind all day, every time I do something. And I feel a certain way, but I'm trying not to let it bother me. So if you are somebody going through any kind of tough stuff and you feel it taking up a lot of your mental energy, the best thing that you can do is just to stay consistent with life. So 6-minute intro to give you a little update on me. I got 2 questions that I wanted to answer before I get into today's topic. One of them is, let me just pull up my Facebook group because I want to make sure that I answer. I put the question out here for y'all so you can hear it word for word. What the question was. Okay, here we go. For someone who struggles with taking days off, any suggestions? My entire day is better in terms of mood, eating everything when I get a good sweat or lift on early in the day. And I actually absolutely love this question, especially for like people that do like CrossFit or group fitness classes. Guys, it is totally normal and okay to want to move your body every day. Like we should all be moving our body every single day. It's important to learn how to listen to your body. So if there's a day where like me talking to you guys about me, if you're feeling a little bit under the weather or a little bit tired, like probably not the day to go to the gym or force yourself to work out. But CrossFit is a program that is designed to be originally 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. And on their rest days, they did recommend learning to play new sports, like doing different things. So maybe you do work out 6 days a week. That is totally fine. What I would suggest is number 1, listening to your body and the amount of volume you're doing. Are you getting positive feedback from that? And 2, if you're doing the CrossFit classes, don't add on a bunch of extra programming on top of that gym programming. Maybe you're using one of the extra days that you're doing for maybe some skill work, walking, rucking. Maybe if you're like, maybe your engine needs some work. Maybe you're doing a light jog, some zone 2 work. But typically, I think I think we should move our body every day. Our body was designed to move. I mean, like really, we should be moving more than we're sitting. That's kind of how we were built. So if you can keep yourself active on a rest day, and yes, there's so many benefits to the way when we work out. I agree. Once I've had my workout in, I am way more productive. I'm way more focused. I feel good. My energy's good. It just sets you up for success, and that's honestly a good thing. Exercise is a good thing to be doing daily. It's okay to want to train daily. I think it just comes down to you have to learn how to listen to your body. And I don't think that you should be doing high intensity training every single day of the week. Like you definitely need one day where it's like low key, like just moving. It could be gardening. It could be walking. It could be whatever, swimming. It could be playing with your kids, playing a sport. And then maybe another day where like you're just not pushing it super hard. You're doing something where it's not taking you to that failure point. So that definitely is what I would recommend on rest days. Hey, Craig. The second question that I wanted to answer from my Facebook group, and this is a client of mine, and she actually sent me a message that somebody basically told her that that she's undoing all of her progress in the gym because she is drinking diet soda. And I'm like, people are so crazy. So her message in the Facebook group says, does Diet Coke increase your insulin and act like regular Coke when digesting? And the answer is absolutely not. Okay. I actually made an Instagram reel about this last week, and I'm probably going to end up recording another podcast on artificial sweeteners. But here's what you guys have to understand about artificial sweeteners. If you have a tablespoon, I want you to envision a tablespoon of granules of sugar. In those granules of sugar, if you're using an artificial sweetener, you only need like 1 or 2 granules to get the exact same sweetness as the entire tablespoon of granulated sugar. And that's why they're so effective at being used as an artificial or as a sugar source, because they don't really have any calories. There's no impact there. In order for them to impact your insulin levels, in order for anything to impact your insulin levels, you have to give the body something to break down in terms of glucose. And because there's no calories to be breaking down, there's no sugar in an artificial sweetener, you aren't going to have anything to break down into glucose. So insulin won't be released. So it's really important to understand that. And as I mentioned in my reel, diet sodas can be very effective at helping people stay more consistent with their nutrition, because obviously drinking plain water can be super boring right now. Let me take a sip of my drink. This is a water, and I'll be honest, they're very sweet, artificial sweeteners for me. So this Stanley cup is what, 30 or 40 ounces? I don't even know. It's 40 ounces. So I use one packet of like the on-the-go packet for about 40 ounces, maybe more like 30, because I don't fill it all the way up. So I definitely dilute it a little bit, but it can make it easier for you to stick to your nutrition, because if you're getting a sweet craving or you're getting something in between, you can have a diet soda or something like that, and it helps you a little bit. You can add or take away real sugar in your sweets and getting the same sweet flavor for 0 calories. It's an easy way for you to make an adjustment to your nutrition that doesn't require you to cut back on food amounts. You're just cutting back on the calories. So I do honestly think that artificial sweeteners can be a great thing to add to your diet. Now, not all artificial sweeteners are created equal, and I should say they are all kind of equal, but some people like the taste of different ones better. So you have to kind of play around with different ones and see which ones you like and which ones you don't. So my personal preference right now, I've been baking with monk fruit sweetener. That's been a really good thing for me to bake with. I use the Lakanto brand, and I use Swerve in my Ninja Creamies. They have a confectioner's sugar that I use because it's already kind of broken down. And then I love the Zero Sugar Sunkiss. That's like my favorite go-to. I've never really liked Diet Coke. I've never been a Diet Coke fan, which I think is made with aspartame. And I think that that's one that I don't really like. I've also noticed that there's certain brands of skinny syrups that I don't like. I shouldn't say skinny syrups, but the zero sugar coffee syrups. The ones that I like personally are the skinny syrup line and the Mateo brand. I do not like the Tarani brand, and there's a couple of other ones that I've tried that I just don't like. They taste very artificial to me. So play around with different ones and see which ones work for you. So those are my 2 questions, and a little bit of a health update just to get the ball rolling. So if you're still with me, let's talk about, I guess we're going to talk about the holiday season that's up to come, actually starting in a couple of days. We're starting with Thanksgiving, and as I mentioned, I'm hosting. And then kind of setting yourself up for success going into the new year. I have a few notes, but honestly, I'm kind of free-forming this today because I want it to feel very natural. And I really do believe that nutrition should be such an organic, natural thing. And people try and make it this like big project. And it's why I do really like to keep people in a simplicity state rather than overthinking everything and putting emphasis on things that really don't matter that much. So let's talk about, like, maybe you have some goals and you're looking at the next 2 months and you're saying, it's not the right time to start because I've got like 5 million different holiday parties to go to. Work is super crazy. I've got kids shows and travel. And you're not that person that's like, oh, I'm going to start over fresh at the beginning of the new year. But you just know that right now is not really the right time for you to be cutting back on calories and focusing on that kinds of stuff. It just might make it less enjoyable over the holiday season. And then I'm also going to talk to those of you guys that maybe you're already dialed in and maybe you have been seeing a lot of progress. And this is your first holiday season where you're going into it already in a good place and you want to be able to maintain what you're doing and maybe even see some more progress. Regardless, the things are going to be kind of similar or the same. And it starts off with, if you are that person that's like, you got work to do, you want to change your body, but like you feel like right now is just not the right time. Well, there really is never going to be a right time, because if it's not the holiday season, it's going to be spring break or it's going to be summer. And in fact, one of my clients was telling me that one of the statistics that she read said that people gain more weight in the summertime than they do in the holiday season, which I think makes sense because there's more opportunities for things like barbecues and boating outings where you're literally around food and alcohol all day. So it's a little bit different than having a Thanksgiving dinner, maybe a Christmas Eve dinner, a Christmas Day dinner, maybe a couple cocktail parties. If you think about it, you probably are going to have, even if you had 10 meals over the course of the next 6 weeks where you were eating a little bit more calories than you should be, that's still so minute in the world, in the grand scheme of things, right? So I think that the best way to end 2024, if you are just looking at, I know I need to be changing, but right now it feels overwhelming to you, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start to establish the basic foundation. And if you're already in your fat loss journey or you're already dialing things in, it's the perfect time to reinforce flexibility in that foundation. And here's what that looks like. One, it's okay. If you want to get serious about your goals, you need to be tracking your food. All right. If you're not tracking your food and you're following meal plan templates and you're literally just cutting out food groups, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, you are going to continue to run yourself crazy because you're going to be just stuck in the same spot. You're going to lose a few pounds. It's going to stall out. You're going to get demotivated. You're going to get cravings. Then you're going to be back on the bandwagon again of trying to clean it up after you've fallen off the wagon. So when you learn the power of keeping a food diary, it's essentially like now you have a money budget and you get to choose how you spend that budget. And I think that the main thing is in the holiday season, if you have a lot of parties, the expectations right now should be less about how much is the scale going to move? And it should be more about, okay, am I actually comfortable like learning how to eat enough calories to maintain my weight? Do I know what that looks like? Am I actually comfortable eating different foods and not feeling guilty about them? Learning how to actually see what's in the food that you eat when you're not trying to diet is the best way to learn how to maintain your weight. So the reality is that a lot of people like to focus on their nutrition when they're in a fat loss phase. But a fat loss phase is temporary. That is not a long-term, you're not going to live for fat loss for the rest of your life. Learning how to maintain it is much more important. So this holiday season, what you should be looking at is all of these different parties and opportunities for you to maybe be able to be more flexible with your nutrition. By the way, we can talk about tracking food on holidays while we're at it. I think that this is something that, you don't have to track your food in a holiday, but when you are learning how to eat more flexibly, tracking your food in a holiday isn't really necessary because you kind of already have like a little bit of an internal barometer as to about how many calories are in those things. So, or a barometer, internal cues, you basically know what's on your plate and you know when you're overdoing it. But you can also track on your holidays if you want to. The cool thing about this is like just being flexible with your nutrition is so important. So right now, the first step is like you should be tracking your food. I don't think you need to be obsessing about being in a calorie deficit right now if this is new to you. I think it should be about building the foundation. The second thing is also making sure that you've got basic nutrition habits established. So for instance, like right now, you might have Thanksgiving on Thursday. You maybe have like a Friendsgiving as well, or a second brunch or something like that. And then maybe you have like a holiday party the second week of December. And then you've got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and you got New Year's Eve. So in between those things, what are you doing with your nutrition? Are you, you can't just say like you can't dial in your nutrition, be dialed in the other days of the week because you have these holidays coming up. That's kind of like saying I'm going on vacation in a month from now, so I'm just going to not work for the next month because I'm getting ready for vacation and it doesn't really matter right now. But that's just stupid, right? You're still going to go to your job. You're still going to do things. So establishing the basic foundation of your nutrition. So what types of foods you're eating on a normal schedule, what meal planning and prepping looks like in your life to be consistent. And, kind of like looking at what feels best to your body. What phase are you in? You can go into a fat loss phase right now and still enjoy your holidays. You don't have to go into a fat loss phase right now. We can just be optimizing, but you should be looking at all of those things. And this is the stuff that matters. A lot of you guys might be way past that, and that's great. you're a step ahead. So now you're that person that right now what you should be doing is, are you somebody that can be in a fat loss phase for the holidays? So a lot of my clients, they don't have a problem sticking to their nutrition for their fat loss phase throughout the holidays because they can be flexible. They can take a couple of days and enjoy a few more calories and still be on track with losing weight. Others, maybe you've been in a fat loss phase for a long time, and this is the opportunity for you to bring calories up and learning how to eat more calories for maintenance and taking the next 4 to 6 weeks and just living life, eating optimally for your body. A lot of people think that maintenance calories are the calories you're eating when you're not losing weight. And while there is some truth to the fact that your body's maintaining on whatever it is you're currently eating, it doesn't mean that that's optimal for your body. So we can optimize things like, hey, let's just see if we can push the ceiling up and still see you stay the same weight. That's the magic. That's the magic pill to being able to maintain while actually being able to be more flexible, So this is the perfect opportunity for you guys to take if you want to take what I would call a diet break, to build the solid foundation of maintenance calories. And these are all things that I want to make sure that you guys are aware. I teach in my program, and I want to empower you to be able to figure this out because my life is very different than your life. We are going to work together to troubleshoot how you need to navigate the holiday season, what works best for you, where you're at in your life, what kind of responsibilities you have. All right. Let me take a sip of my artificial sweeteners. Now let's talk about why this is so important and is going to help you if you are planning on maybe jumpstarting your fat loss phase in the new year. Okay. The cool thing about all of this right now is that when you have your body in a place where you're eating a lot more food, your weight staying the same, so you can actually go out and enjoy yourself, and you're walking into 2025, you are ready to rock in fat loss. You don't have to figure out how you're going to meal prep. You don't have to figure out what maintenance calories are. You don't have to figure out, how you're going to get to the gym. You don't have to figure out any of those things. They're already done. The only thing you have to do is put yourself in a deficit. You've built the foundation. You're getting all of the right foods in. You've repaired your relationship with food in some manner. It doesn't get better in the course of 6 weeks, but you're in a place where you're eating more flexibly. You don't have guilt around enjoying a holiday party. And now going into the new year, you have the data you need. You see how consistent you are in the gym. You see what your nutrition looks like. You have a goal, and all you have to do is make some adjustments either into how much you're moving, so you want to get some more steps in, or to how much you're eating. You cut back on calories a little bit. It's not this, you literally gained 15 pounds and now you're going into 2025 having to knock off the 15 pounds you gained over the holiday season and the other 15 pounds that you've been looking to lose before the holiday season. So it puts you in a place where you just are ready to rock. There's no more thinking about what you have to do. You already know. You've laid the foundation. You've spent the last 4 to 6 weeks dialing it in. And now you just get the freaking engine cranked up and you're good to go. I'm not good with these analogies, guys. Can you tell? I'm just really excited about this. It's something that excites me. And I'm not about New Year challenges, New Year, new me. I'm not doing a jumpstart at the beginning of the year. I am doing a jumpstart again, but it ain't going to be at the beginning of the year because I don't want people that are looking to jumpstart for 30 days. This is the time. The people that I want to work with are the people that are like, she's absolutely right. I need to learn how to freaking go through the holiday season and not put on 15 pounds. I need to learn how to be okay with enjoying some more food and not feeling like an asshole because I decided to have a cupcake. I want people that want moderation, that want to see results and are committed to themselves, not just for a freaking 30-day challenge, that they're committed to themselves for 30 years. A lot of people, if you're listening to this, you've been doing CrossFit for a long time. You've been hitting the gym for a long time. You've been doing a lot of things for a long time. And likely there are still some things that you're trying to change. And the reason why they're not changing is because you're not building a plan that shows you how to continue to make progress on them. And with this method, you're going to be able to have the foundation. We go into fat loss phase. The cool thing is you've already been through the quote unquote reverse part of it because you did it before you started. So it's just doing it all over again. And now you're done. No more of this like yo-yoing your weight. No more of this waiting for another challenge to start up. No more of this like, just all of the diet baggage and the constant ups and downs and literally Dr. Googling everything, trying a bunch of different things that don't get you anywhere and giving you the clear-cut direction. So your 2025 plan, if you want to know the exact plan that you need to be following, here it is. And you can start this right now, okay? Step number 1, we need a food audit. All right, so food audit is taking 3 to 7 days, the more data the better, of just eating pretty much routinely what you're currently eating, getting an idea of what your caloric intake is right now, along with what does your activity look like. So also taking a look at your daily step count, how many times a week you're working out, and also your feedback with that kinds of stuff. So how are you feeling? What's your weight doing? We have that. That's a starting place. Now it's important to take a look at what your caloric needs are estimated to be and seeing how close or far off from that you are. This gives you an idea of like, okay, I could probably be eating a little bit more. These calculations are just an estimation. They are not an end all, but it gives you a good baseline. And I always recommend getting people to push the limits a little bit on it, because the more food you get, would you rather be rich or poor? Plain and simple. I love money. Would you rather be rich or poor? Same thing with your food. The richer you are, the easier life is, right? So like, get yourself rich. Okay. So we want to build that base and that foundation of calorie needs. And with doing those two things, you're optimizing the method that you're going to be using to lose fat. So by tracking your food, you're also getting comfortable using a food scale, taking a look at portions, looking at calories and macros. We can also identify nutrient deficiencies. So like, where are your macros at, protein, carbs, and fats? Are you getting enough fiber? How much fruits and vegetables are you getting? All of this stuff is included in my program, but we take a look at that. I'm not telling you to eat broccoli. Maybe you don't like broccoli, but we're going to find a vegetable that you do like. Or you're like some of my clients and they're adults that don't eat vegetables. I have that too. So we want to make sure like we've got that foundation, and that's how you start. All right. So once we've got that, now we've got your ceiling built. We've got you lots of money. Now we're just going to chip away at that fat loss goal that you got. Okay. So we just drop calories a little bit. Sometimes I might increase movement. Sometimes I have to adjust macros. Again, all of this stuff is stuff that you will learn with working with me. You will learn, okay, when does she adjust macros versus calories? When do I adjust movement versus food? Like, we want to look at all of those types of things and knowing what to adjust when. And then from there, it's knowing how to adjust when your body plateaus. Adaptation is a part of fat loss. Your body is going to adapt to the change in calories in and to the amount of weight you are. So, sorry, the amount of weight, how much you weigh. So as you weigh less, you burn less calories. As you are dropping your calories, your body will adapt to burn less calories. So we want to know how to adjust for that. Sometimes we bring calories up. Other times we bring them down. Again, you will learn how to do this stuff. And then obviously the final phase is, where do you want to be? The thing about me is I'm going to be honest with you and be realistic. I don't just look at what you tell me you want, because a lot of people tell me, I want to be 125 pounds, or I want to be 135 pounds, or I want to be 185 pound male. That number on the scale is not really what you're seeking. You're envisioning yourself at that weight. And oftentimes that number is not going to give you the look that you want. So I'm like, realistically, chasing the last 2 or 3 pounds isn't worth it. So I help you figure out when it's time to move into maintenance, so that you no longer have to see yourself suffer to try and lose 2 to 3 pounds, only to get burned out and end up regaining all of it. So we find that sweet spot for you where you're like, I feel really good maintaining between like this weight and that weight. So like 130 to 135 or 135 to 140. We find your low and your high, and you always sit right in the middle. Your lowest weight is never going to be your maintenance weight. I got to write that down because I need to make an Instagram reel about that. I got to write that shit down when I'm thinking of it. But yeah, and that's it. And like, once you've been through all of that, you now have the tools. Like, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to be honest, reality is I don't believe in bulking and cutting. So when you leave me, you should no longer have to lose weight. You should be in a place where you are so confident that you can maintain If anything, you might need the accountability and the support of like maybe not being secure and making changes to that. But for the most part, you should be in a really good place. Like everything is built the way that you wanted to. Like you built your meal plan. You decided how you wanted to do things. I'm just here to guide you. And at the end of this is, okay, do you want to be because obviously we've been tracking our food. Do you want to be a continued food tracker? Some clients are, yes, I'm a food tracker. I like the flexibility it gives me. I like seeing data. It's just like some people are more close in their money budget. Others are like, no, I really don't want to look at that stuff. We have to understand what self-monitoring looks like for you and ensure that you know how to ensure that you are not going to regain weight. So that's pretty much the simplicity of the plan, and right now is the perfect time for you guys. And I'm going to put a plug out there. I don't do this very often. I don't go online and be like, oh, come work with me. Come work with me. I get people that reach out to me, and that's normally how I like to do things. I don't ever want to feel like I'm telling somebody why they need me. I want to be telling you the things that you need to hear and you to be like, yep, she's right. I need this in my life. And if that is you right now, as of yesterday until this coming Sunday at midnight, I am running a Black Friday promo. So the Black Friday promo, I have 2 options. And I want to kind of break down the big differences between the two. If you are somebody who has a lot of experience with nutrition, but maybe you don't have the professional guidance on the amounts of things that you should be eating, like you have a pretty solid foundation, like you've got all that stuff and you just need some quick adjustments, you are in a really good place with your relationship with food, and you don't have anything underlying like hormone, metabolism, anything. You just need some adjusting. I have my essentials program, which works really well for a lot of my CrossFitters who are already dialed in. Maybe they've done things in the past, but they just don't have that guidance that they need. And then I've got my pro option is for those of you guys that need a little bit of everything. You're starting from scratch, or you got a lot of shit under the hood we got to uncover. And so that's the main difference as to who's for which program. My pro option does give you a lot more access to me. So you'll be able to message me whenever you want. Whereas my essential option is a group-led program with a weekly one-on-one adjustment. So it's a little bit different different programming. What's the word I'm looking for? Different model, I should say. But I have an application so that I can kind of tell you what I feel like would be best for you. But you can also tell me what you think would be best for you, and I will work with you. My goal is that the application is meant to just spark some connection with us and for us to make sure that we are going to be a good fit to work together. So if any of that sounds good to you, I did put the link to my Black Friday promo in the show notes. If you guys have questions about your own nutrition and you're not quite ready to sign up for coaching, and you're just listening to all of this, like, yeah, I would like to get started on XYZ, you can shoot me a message. Or if you have any other nutrition questions that you would like me to answer next week, also feel free to shoot me a message and we will go from there. I hope you guys all have an amazing Thanksgiving. And a couple of other reminders for you all for the holiday season. You can't undo all of your progress in one meal. Stay hydrated and focus on your anchors this holiday season. So that means don't skip your workout, get your steps in, stick to your nutrition the majority of the time. It's really that simple. You don't have to worry about gaining 20 pounds this holiday season as long as you stick to those principles. If you need anything, you know where to find me. I'll talk to y'all soon.